Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Project Hexagon channel. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching another matchup for the quarterfinals round of the Six-Digit World Cup. My name is Cami Crayola, and joining me in the VC is the lovely Foxy. Foxy, how you doing, man?
Good morning, and hello. It is a pleasure to be here, especially for a match like this, which is so close overall. I am a little surprised for seeing these teams in losers bracket. Both of these teams have been proven to be insanely good, especially a few players such as Festive Axolotl and Valvet, who have been performing insanely well, and Valvet in particular, who has been, I believe, top 10 in every single round so far on individual performance. So it's a battle
Whew.
of that insane carry and the insane consistency that Vietnam has overall.
Hmm. Yeah, I think a very interesting dynamic to look at going into these two teams is that, team structure wise, Vietnam and Argentina are very different. When you look at Team Vietnam, you look at a very well rounded roster. You look at a roster where, a lot of their players sort of hover around that same level, and everybody on Team Vietnam has a role to play on Team Vietnam. Meanwhile, you switch around and you look at Team Argentina, and it's very easy to look at them and think, okay, there is obviously going to be a lot of sightedness when it comes to I'm looking at forward no in particular. So I mentioned Foxy, some of your top performers and stats. And it's very easy to look at this Argentinian roster and go, yeah, this roster, they might have some supporting players here and there, but the main story is going to be dictated over their two carry players. And at the end of the day, the main, point of contention for the Argentinian roster is whether they're going to be able to find the support, find that third or fourth player to come into each and every map. Because for what it's worth, Vietnam has a lot of outlets of attack. Not only do they have a stronger baseline, they also have their own carries. You're looking at Salt Rano Chio, who's in the BC right now, and Tien in the lobby right now, and Tien VU as well. Not to mention, I think you can tell us about that, but there are a bunch of veterans coming in from Team Vietnam as well to sort of bolster for lobby. Aside from the carries that we're going to be seeing today.
Yeah, you don't have that many returning players from previous years. The only players that I can really see are my Angel Chino, who has played in 6WC1 and then didn't play until 6WC4, where they participated for the team, and now they're playing here again. So one of the more experienced players, Vietnam also has a few players that aren't playing but are still helping them, such as FireRed, who played every 6WC besides this one so far. So,
Okay.
unfortunate to see the only other player in the tournament who played all 6WCs to go. As on the other side, actually, we have Unknown on the side of Argentina, who is the only player who has played every 6WC. So, interesting to see these matchups. They have some experienced players. Vietnam overall has been a team that's been probably the most consistent in their placement, getting 9th in 6WC1, 3, and 4 and then 13th in 6WC2. So they've been insanely consistent on their placements and the overall just roster strength. While Argentina, while they have been a very strong team for a couple of years now, they aren't as consistent as Vietnam in these players with 25th placement in 6WC1, then getting 2 group stage placements, and then 5th last year. So it's interesting to see how Argentina's gonna do while Vietnam has been this consistent.
Yeah, that's right. And the main thing to look out for with this Argentinian roster, right, is how much their performance as a roster fluctuates. Of course, last year was their strongest year by far, but you know we shall not name what happened last year with the Argentinian roster. And in essence, I think I was speaking to the captain of the Argentinian roster, and the main goal for this roster moving into 2025 is to sort of clear the Argentinian name, clear the name of the country, coming out of what happened, or coming out of the incident that happened in 2024. So I guess here we're gonna be able to see whether Argentina, can pull off some upsets moving forward in this matchup. I do also want to mention, a potential experience gap when it comes to these two rosters. I know we mentioned the veterans and whatnot, but if I'm not mistaken, a lot of players coming in from the Argentinian roster are all new time tournament players. And while at the same time you can boil it down to being spawns and whatnot, we have seen that sort of really hinder Argentina's performance in their later rounds. I mean, or in their earlier rounds, pardon me. You look at their matchup against Team Australia, and there are a lot of picks where they might have just narrowly been able to win out against Team Australia in round 32, but because of the nerf difference between the two teams, overall Argentina was just not able to get that extra push. And with the pool SR starting to become a bit more precarious, a bit more difficult, a bit more challenging for some of these players, the experience gap is definitely going to be a lot more pronounced, I think. But at the same time, I mean, the more difficult pool, the more skill cappy pool for the entire lobby might give some room for the carries of Team Argentina to shine. But as brightly as the carries of Argentina shine, the Vietnamese carries will definitely match up or shine as bright, if not even brighter than them.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a battle of who's more consistent overall. But I believe, I'm not sure if we have a second warm-up, as I believe we just finished this first one. And if we do have there's only this one?
Ah, banger warm up, good warm up,
Hell yeah,
good warm
okay.
up. Psychedelic. Yeah, we're
Okay.
starting to get into our pick and bans orders. We're getting the roles in. And I guess here now we can, really take a step back and try to look at what kind of game plan these two teams are going for. Foxy, I mean, do you have anything to comment about these two rosters?
These two rosters, they're very well matched, if I'm being completely honest. They have a lot of the same skill sets. If you look at the maps that they played last round, both of those matches were a little longer. But overall, they performed very similarly. The only really maps that were standouts are like Hidden 2 and Fremont 1, which was won by Vietnam by a pretty sizable margin. So Vietnam a little better on the gimmick overall. They have some really nice hard trucks as well in players like Mindjul, Chino, Festive, Axolotl, and Illimist. So overall, Vietnam doesn't really have a weakness that they want to instantly ban out. They might go for something like DT1 or Nomad 4 because those were the two maps they lost last round against Argentina, comparing the stats. But then on the other hand, they could also just go for something else. They have a lot of options here. And on the other side, Argentina definitely wants to ban out the most likely wanting to ban out something like Hard Truck or Nomad 2, which they've banned out in previous rounds. They've not been a fan of these heavy, super heavy mechanics picks overall. So, or not, Nomad 2 Hard Truck 1, sorry. They've not been a fan of gimmick picks, so something like Hidden 2 is probably getting banned
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah, I definitely think that mechanics wise, Argentina definitely has is definitely playing on the back foot against a roster like Team Vietnam. And it looks like Vietnam is gonna kickstart this match with a HG2 Protect, if I'm not mistaken.
That
And
is
yeah,
indeed.
yeah, on the flip side, I could definitely see Team Argentina. I don't think going. I could see a Hard Rock ban here. I could see a Hard Rock ban. I think the Hard Rock 1 in particular is a lot more accessible of a map. It's sort of like your generic 200 BCM aim. So from a assessment of your previous matches coming in from Team Vietnam and Team Argentina, Hard Rock 1 definitely makes a lot of sense here. Alternatively, I could also see a No Mod 2 Protect, but then again, I think that's one of those maps where you mentioned Foxy, these two teams overlap very, very closely. But we do in fact see a Hard Rock Protect, but not Hard Rock 1 in fact, it's Hard Rock 3. Let's go! Let's go! It's not bad.
Oh, the custom
The
song
custom
stays
song gets
open.
hit. Let's go.
We have seen this custom song actually quite a bit in the previous matches. I believe it was in the last match that got streamed on the main channel. I believe it was played in the China's Hong Kong match. It was played in the match before that as well. So overall, a very popular map. I'm not surprised to see it protected. I know Argentina absolutely loves this kind of map where they can just get Velvet in and skill cap the other team. And Vietnam, while having some decent hard truck players, they have players such as Chino or Axolotl, as mentioned before. None of them are particularly known for being very good hard truck tech players, and this map tests hard truck tech a lot.
Yeah, and I like to echo what you said. I think one thing to take note about this Vietnamese roster is when it comes to the controls, Like, it's very iffy. It's a real gray area, I think, between both of these teams. Argentina is more of a mechanics country at the end of the day, right? But Team Vietnam also isn't too well known for the control side of the skill set tree. So at the end of the day, I could definitely see this being sort of a later stage pick if we do manage to get into that stage of the match. But meanwhile, Team Vietnam is gonna open up with a GT1 ban. Makes a lot of sense. They're keeping in the genre of those trying to keep the mechanics away from Team Argentina. And meanwhile, Foxy, you're right on the nail. I mean, no mod 6 ban coming in from Team Argentina. Really, you see the tension coming in here. Argentina avoiding all of those, gimmicky, all of those really weird specialist, quote unquote specialist picks. And meanwhile, Team Vietnam looking to ban out and avoid more accessible picks such as GT1. But uh we are gonna see Argentina immediately go for a Hard Rock 3 first pick. That is interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, picking your Protect instantly on first pick is a very interesting option, especially when
Every
there's
time
a
the aura
second
loss
fan
in.
base, but but yeah, that is an insane call to do it now. I was heavily expecting something like No Mod 4 since that's still open and Vietnam doesn't really like tech, or even honest to god, something like Hard Rock 1 purely because while Vietnam has decent like base Hard Rock players, Hard Rock 1 being 200 BPM does kind of skill cap a few of them. Well, not skill cap, but speed cap. So I am very surprised to see this first pick. This is a very interesting option.
You know what? Credit where credit is due. I think the strategy coming in from Team Argentina on this map is they're looking for the easy mental boom. They're looking for the early momentum, and picking your protect is as good of a pick as is. But I'm really worried about this protect because we mentioned how control as a skill set is a real gray area between both of these teams. And it's not like Vietnam is a complete crutch or completely disabled on hard rock whatsoever. I mean, they still have a solid roster, but on the flip side, you look at this map and it's really like looking like a far away and unknown sort of hard carry on Hard Rock 3. And given how they did protect it, I mean, I'm definitely expecting them to perform well on it, but I just can't help but think, either this Hard Rock 3 first pick is just a miss pick, just by nature of picking your protect before the second ban phase, or this Hard Rock 3 is a missed ban. Because I honestly wouldn't see Vietnam banning this in the first ban phase either way, and they definitely could have saved their protect for something a bit more crucial, maybe even the DP1. But I mean, with that said, we're gonna have to see how it goes. I think this is gonna be a very important pick for Team Argentina to win very early on in the match. Despite it being the first point, it's gonna be incredibly pivotal because losing your protect this early on, whew, that's not what you want to do. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rip Hard Drive Wave, a custom song in a Yobimo original by SJ88, mapped by Ducky. Let's jump straight into it, Foxy.
Yeah, going straight into this. A map that I believe should have been saved for later, but we see it now as Vietnam taking a little bit of an early lead thanks to their accuracy. Rena, one of the star Hard Rock players, taking the first break on this map, but very early on. There is still a lot of time to recover. 2.5 minutes of what is basically raw tech with a lot of mechanics, something that Argentina will absolutely love here. As Chino and Yuhime both find breaks on the side of Vietnam, giving Argentina a lot of place here to kind of build up their combos. Chino with another break. We do see Disva trading that, but Argentina is just looking very comfortable, but the run of Chio is holding 96% FC, dropping to 95, but that is a really good FC, and that's something Argentina is going to have to contend with for quite a while, as it seems.
That's right. In the past, you've seen Argentina fall short in terms of the accuracy on low SR. That is not happening here. I mean, this but I believe that was a Bancho miss, so they're back in the game. That's 3 FCs to 1. And I mean, we are already in the second half of the map. The pressure is on, and Forward Unknown still leading the lobby with their massive combos. Forward, in fact, overtaking Salt in terms of the accuracy. And with that, I mean, I don't really think there's much Vietnam can do unless we see a complete combo crumble coming in from the right side. And as we move into the last of the map, I mean, there's not much time left. There's nothing more to say. This is a very good pick.
Yeah, I can definitely see why this is protected, as Argentina on that double FC is holding
Are you
strong.
kidding?
it does just take Falvet to break for this to start to swing though. Unknown's accuracy is not that high, and he does find a break for himself, but so does
Oh.
Salt. And with that, Vietnam loses their last array of hope. Gandalf and Disma both recovered insanely well. Gandalf on 500 combo, and with that, Argentina is pushing their advantage 600k. Falvet only 96% FC with one of the most insane scores I have seen today in this tournament so far.
Holy mental diff! What a way to kickstart a match with a masterclass performance on arguably one of the hardest maps in this quarterfinals pool. Forward kicking things off with a 968k score on Hard Rock 3, securing a 739k score lead against Team Vietnam to kickstart the match. Yes, it is their protector at the end of the day, but holy, if momentum was what they were looking for, they sure as hell got it.
Yeah, I mean, it is Vietnam's pick, and Vietnam does have their hidden two to stop this at basically any moment if they want to, but this is one hell of a start to the match, as you mentioned. 740k score difference is insanely difficult to just combat at all, even in the next pick. So it's something that Vietnam's just gonna have to pick around. They will probably keep their hidden to protect safe for now. I can see something like Nomad 2, or not Nomad 2 really, but Nomad 3 or Free Mod 2 getting picked. And I do believe that we see Nomad 3, if my eyes are not deceiving me. They are. The low quality is deceiving me, as we see Nomad 2 get basically insta-picked by Vietnam as well, picking into the tapping, which is a very interesting option against Argentina of all teams, who's not bad on tapping and actually quite like Nomad 2s from what I've seen.
Yeah, I can't help but feel a bit suspicious of this Nomad 2 pick. And at the end of the day, you mentioned Foxy, right, that these two rosters are very similar in terms of their skill set. I can't see this Nomad 2 being a very good first pick coming in from Team Vietnam. However, I think something that maybe that goes into the hiddens might have been a better pick for Team Vietnam, especially considering you want to get as much of your strengths out of the question before the second ban phase. But instead, we see a Nomad 2 pick here coming in from Team Vietnam. As you mentioned before, Foxy, I mean, Nomad 2s are something that Team Argentina is no stranger to, and they definitely can fill a roster when it comes to this map, especially. This is the first time in this tournament that we've seen proper stamina-ish tapping in our Nomad 2 slot. 174 BPM, a lot slower than what we saw in round 32 and quite a bit faster than what we saw in round of 16. But, this is a much more generic, a much more bread and butter cookie cutter type of Nomad 2 that you typically see in your typical tournaments. I mean, stamina, a bit of flow aim here and there, coming in at, just around 2 minutes long. It's really a tapping player's fever dream. And, well, we'll have to see how well Team Vietnam performs on this. Given how this is their first pick, however, they're probably feeling pretty damn confident about this. And I think, Foxy, this is where we might start to see Argentina's accuracy cost them.
Yeah, Argentina just overall has an accuracy problem. That's something that we saw in the Hard Rock 3 right now. It's something we've seen a lot. But I don't think that this map really matters too much with the accuracy, because while it is a very simple Nomad 2, I have not seen this quad FC. I've not seen many FCs on this overall, actually. A lot of players are struggling to adjust to this new Nomad 2 type that has been introduced in this pool, and as we are getting into it, this could swing either way. Again, it's Nomad 2, and Nomad 2 in every map pool is kind of this more simple map that can swing either way, and since both of these teams are decent on it, it's not something that either team really should have picked by now. This seems like very much a desperation pick in the last 2-3 picks for a team, but let's get straight into it. It's a map that I think can swing either way. Both teams very good, but we will have to see as we slowly get into it. Salt, Tien, Yuhime, and CNCS on the side of Vietnam, and Fall Unknown, Dante, and Gabriel on the side of Argentina, with Gabriel getting an early miss as well.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to She is Hyperactive, and we are full swing into the first KI, all about these flow aim, all about these stamina. Yuhime gonna be the next one to find the miss. And in fact, I mean, Argentina is now holding that score lead, but Dante's car does find a miss, so does Unknown, so does TNBU. Gabriel as well, not able to find his footing on this map, and Stinks and Soul are putting the pressure against Foul Wet. despite the fact that he is currently leading the lobby of that 99.73. We are going into the second third of the map with a very, very precarious lead in favor of Team Argentina right now.
Yeah, ZCNS and Assault are currently just gonna beat out Falvet here, especially if Falvet breaks on the slow section out of nowhere, which gives Vietnam a massive advantage going into the stream. ZCNS also looking insanely comfortable, 99% accuracy almost, does drop a little bit, but he's still up there with the support from Salt, and Argentina only having really Dante to combat it. Salt
Oh,
finds the break, but Vietnam still insanely in the lead, and as long as CCNS holds, they are going to stay.
that's right. I mean, there is still quite a bit of map left as we're moving into this last quarter of the map. Any miss can cause the score to swing. Zinx in particular is on a thread right now, but TMBU and Forward continue to trade. Gabriel and Unknown and as well as Dante's car finally finding their footing in the map, but I think it might just be too late. Moving now, we're now past the last quarter of the map, and Zinx still pushing ahead, 800, 900 combo and counting. That 100k score lead in favor of Team Vietnam. And I think it is just going to be very, very much in favor of Team Vietnam, albeit in rather precarious fashion, but a point is a point, and Team Vietnam will be securing a point against Team Argentina, taking the scoreboard to 1-1.
This was a very risky pick. Falvet is still on 99% despite their breaks, so if they held even through one of the breaks, this map would have been Argentina's. So not sure how I feel about this, but a point is a point as Vietnam puts their first point on the board. We get back into Argentina's pick with what I believe is most likely going to be a map like No Mod 4 or possibly something like Hard Rock 1. Hard Rock 1's risky, Hard Rock 2 even riskier, although abusing the control that Vietnam somewhat lacks on Hard Rock, it is a possible pick as well. But it all depends on what they're more comfortable on. I expect to see No Mod 4 or Hard Rock
Hard
2
Rock 2,
or
Hard Rock
even a
2,
wild
Hard
card
Rock
like
2.
DT3. A wild card like DT3 is an option, but I highly doubt it here.
I think DT3 is one of those maps where we'll see it later on as like a last ditch RNG coin flip pick. I really don't want to see it as like a match point pick, because holy crap, that map is very, very tenuous to watch. But I want to I'm looking at Team Argentina right now, and I really want them to try to explore more of the Hard Rock pool. They won Hard Rock pool in such a dominant fashion, so if I were them, I would play into that confidence and move into maybe even Hard Rock 2. I mean, Hard Rock control is pretty out there as a skill set, but if your strategy is already to rely on your carry, I mean, I don't have many doubts that Forward will be unable to play this Hard Rock 2, or, you know, play it, or not be able to play it to an extent that allows him to carry his team. So Hard Rock 2 is definitely still an option out there. Hard Rock 1 is a bit more iffy, it's a bit more RNG. But really, I don't see anywhere else that Team Argentina wants to go. Maybe a GT2 trying to play into that mechanics, but in fact, we see a no mod 4 pick. Okay, we're playing control game.
Yeah, I mean, this makes sense. It's an
Yep,
Artec map. It's something that Argentina absolutely loves. And,
Metcalf.
I mean, I know that I'm not sure if this is true, but I know one of the Argentinian players also played until the end of AQS, so they have played this set before. So this map is somewhat well known if you've played 6H tournaments for a little while. But we will just have to wait and see. This map makes a lot of sense for Argentina. Vietnam's not the best at tech. They in fact very much dislike tech, as they only have around 2 full tech players who really want to play something like this. On the other hand, you have Argentina who, as we saw in the Hard Rock 3, absolutely love this kind of map. And this being a little similar to the Hard Rock 3 as well, in the sense that it's very tapping heavy while being techy, does give them an advantage, and this pick makes complete sense in my eyes, along with something like Hard Rock 2 and even possibly DT2.
Yeah, I think this coming out of, you know, the lights that we saw from previous round number 4, this one is a much more mech techy approach. I mean, it's synthesis, 180 BPM, your standard, you know, your standard 180, some finger control here and there, some tapping, some aim. It's really a whole mix of tech skill sets all blended into one. I mean, yeah, synthesis, the song itself needs no introduction whatsoever. A CDC classic here. We need to have one in every single CDC project, so you know how it is. But yeah, I definitely think Foxy, looking at Vietnam's previous performances on Number 4, they really dislike Number 4 as a pick. But at the same time, Normal 4 is not really one of those maps that you typically ban. Usually you want to go for one of the DT slots or one of the gimmick slots, some of the more polarizing slots. So makes sense why they didn't go for this Normal 4 ban. And I think from a captain's assessment wise, this Normal 4 is a very, very good scouted pick. So really playing to their opponent's weaknesses and to their own strengths as well. All of that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tenchi Synthesis.
Again, yeah, makes sense here as we slowly get into the map. We see Rena coming in as well for this, which makes a lot of sense. I think this is going to be a Salt CCNS class where they have to kind of carry with a little bit of support. And on the other side, you obviously have Unknown and Falva, two of the most experienced players on Argentina, with Dante and Gandalf supporting them. As we get into this map, Synthesis does not waste any time getting straight into the meat of the sliders, as right after this spinner we already get into it. We don't see any early breaks. Never mind, Dante does find himself a break early on, as Rena trades that with equal scores on both sides. The score is basically even between both teams, as it does not move. We're going through this first KI, and everyone holds their combos.
That's right, the adrenaline is building up. This is a map known for their KIs, 3 minutes and 41 seconds long. There's going to be a few of them installed, but we are jumping straight into the first one. Let's get straight into it. Currently, 4 FCs on the side of Team Argentina. It looks like Dante's Scar was a Bancho miss. But as it stands right now, the scoreline is still incredibly precarious. Both teams not giving an inch to one another. Salt finds a miss, created out by Gandalf, however. And right now, the accuracy lead is in favor of Team Argentina. Rena 1 as well, compounding that miss coming in from Salt. And it's now 2-4.
Yeah, Argentina on the front foot here. Gandalf also was a Bancho break earlier. It's a Bancho break now, and it's just Velvet who actually finds a break on the side of Argentina. But Gandalf, Dante finding their breaks. Salt breaking, having a Bancho break. Bancho is not enjoying this map, but Argentina slightly in the lead for now, but it's gonna swing over with the double FC from Tianwu and ZCNS as Unknown. On the FC, with Dante and Gandalf, they have that combo locked down, as apparently Dante and Gandalf were both Bancho misses once again. Bancho is not liking this map or matchup at all, but it's in the favor of Argentina for now, as the score keeps very slowly increasing for their
Oh
side.
my
More breaks
goodness.
coming in, but we'll just have to wait and see if those are actually real. It is real from Dante, but not from Gandalf, so it's 2 FCs to 2.
That's right, but with that, that was a devastating hit to the Argentinian score. I mean, as it stands right now, it's 2 FCs on the side of Team Vietnam. Salt is going to stop the bleeding just a little bit, but now it's 2-2. The accuracies play in favor of Team Vietnam at this juncture, and as we move into the last half of the map, it is so dire for Team Argentina. I am sitting at the edge of my seat. That scoreline is so precarious, so volatile. You can switch in at any moment as we get into this last build-up.
Yeah, going through the build-up, we see Rena has built up a bit of combo as well. They are able to support their matching foul, but not in the accuracy, but in the combo at least. As Tianwu finds a break on the build-up,
Trade!
so does Skandal, and now it's just Unknown and ZCNS against Rena and Falva. Those two are holding. Falva finds a break, and now Vietnam taking the lead as Unknown breaks as well.
Oh my goodness, in a matter of seconds, Argentina has completely crumbled. And once the dust settles, Zinx is the only one to hold into the last KI. Ladies and gentlemen, he has completely won it for Team Vietnam. Although he finds a miss, it does not matter. Ladies and gentlemen, Vietnam will be walking away on what seemed like their worst pick, their least favorite map in the pool. But when all is said and all is done, their tech specialist instinct, as confident as ever, is gonna be the one to carry Team Vietnam 100k score lead against Team Argentina and winning them their first breakpoint going into this matchup. What a performance!
Winning a breakpoint on a map like this after losing Hard Rock 3 by 700k, and then winning this by give or take 100k, would have been 100k if Salt didn't just stop playing at the end of for that stream, is an insane performance. Vietnam really pulling through and managing to take this breakpoint is insanely good for them. Argentina is on the back foot now and needs to take a breakpoint at some point, which, considering how Vietnam is going to just keep on picking gimmicks into Argentina over and over, things like Free Mod 2 are coming eventually, it's gonna be hard for Argentina. They really needed this point to be theirs.
Yeah, because this once again makes all of your picks a lot more muddled. You know, initially you come out of the Hard Rock 3 so incredibly confident, so incredibly strong and dominant, but now you lost out on this No More 4, and once again, what seemed like a skill set that was clearly in your domain, in your ballpark, has completely now been turned over its head, and Vietnam winning that number 4 pick now has a lot more of the pool opened up to them. If we are gonna get into the second ban phase right after this, so this pick is gonna be important. And so once again goes for the no more 5. I mean, really, they just want to pick out all of Argentina's mechanics picks right off the gate. I think at this juncture, it just seems like Vietnam is just trying to limit Argentina's options as fast as possible.
Vietnam is not a speed team. I am very surprised by this pick. So was I with Nomad too, though, and they appear to be
Right?
good on tapping today. I have no idea what's going on, honestly. Vietnam is picking things that I was not expecting them to at all.
They're so aggressive. They're so aggressive with their picks. I mean, they're picking into what Argentina is known for, not playing into any gray areas, not playing into their own strength. No, they want to choke Argentina's picks really early on. And I mean, it's working.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is working. It's just that I'm gonna say this in the brain rot way, but it's just an aura move to pick your opponent's pick and then
It
win it
is.
as well. Which, if they do win this No Mod 5, Argentina is gonna be in a really bad spot. Argentina needs these types of mechanics maps, and with either DT2 or Hard Rock 2 getting banned out in the second ban phase by Vietnam, because they've banned DT2 in every single match until now, I highly doubt we're gonna see it here. This is not looking great for Argentina. They really need to start pulling ahead a little bit on some of these maps that Vietnam's picking.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, at the end of the day, Argentina has the mechanics in their hands. I mean, if all is said is true, you know, Team Vietnam should be the one, or at the very least, this No More 5 should be as close as what we saw in the No More 2. And at the end of the day, that No More 2 was just down to forward finding that unlucky miss in the middle of the map. If you found that miss any earlier or any later, that would have been Argentina's point in the bag. So at the end of the day, once again, similar to what you said about Nomad 2, can really swing any way. But with that, let's jump straight into Elemental Creation.
Getting into this, we aren't seeing any early breaks. Everyone's looking so uncomfortable as we start right off at the speed. Again, another one of the maps in this pool that just does not mess around and instantly drops you into the middle
Oh,
of the speed. As ZCNS finds an early break, Rena finds a break as well. And now Argentina with that quad FC against just 2 FCs, but this map is 2 minutes. It's not too long. But so these breaks are not going to matter too much. There's a lot more in this map.
oh,
Salt
that's gonna
finds himself
matter.
a break as well, and now it's just 4 FCs against 1.
That's right, Gabriel does find a miss, and that is going to slow the bleeding. But I worry for Team Vietnam. This map does not have a lot of combo in the tank. And we're moving into the second quarter of the map, and that score lead is growing at a precariously fast rate. 100k right now, 3 FCs with forward and unknown, and this bar, in fact, all holding those 98% acts. In fact, the entire lobby, with the exception of maybe Zinc, holding relatively solid act. Gabriel finding a lot of shakes on those aim patterns. But at the end of the day, the scoreboard opens and Argentina knows that they have the score lead.
Yeah, I mean, here players get to rest up a little bit, get their bearings, they get to see the scores as we get into the build-up here. This is the rest point where teams might find breaks on the slow section, although it does not look like it, as Argentina pulling ahead with almost 150k score lead. That triple FC is going strong with insane accuracy as well. They don't break on the fast sliders. And with that, Argentina is going to be making its rudest build-up
Oh,
with 0 breaks, but so is Vietnam, and this score is still able to swing either way, as Valvet finds a break, and now
oh,
Vietnam might actually start taking this.
oh, but Rena finds a miss, but so does Gabriel. Currently, it is 2 FCs versus 1 from TMU, but Tien has the support. Never mind, Tien goes down. And once again, the 2 FCs, this bar and Unknown prevail, but Unknown finds a miss. Saw and Zings are the only ones left, and they are gonna bring it back, but Saw at the very end finds a miss. And as the map comes to its triumphant end, Disva, against all odds, by a slither, just narrowly steals that point back from Team Vietnam. Zinx, despite his best efforts, did not have the accuracy. He did not have enough combo to contest against Disva. And what a way to win a point. 60k. Argentina looking for vengeance after that no mod 2.
Yeah, I mean, every single point so far outside of the Hard Rock 3v have not been above 100k advantage to either team. These points have been insanely close, and this Nomad 5, I am a little surprised it's this close. I was expecting Argentina to be a little stronger, but even then, just managing to win this out, even just barely, it's still a point as we get into the second ban phase. Both teams with one break point, meaning that both teams are very comfortable just doing a lot of things here. I think we're gonna see something like Fremont to DT2 bans just to get out Gimmick for the side of Argentina and get out the speed that Argentina loves instead. But that's just my prediction as we get into the second ban phase.
Yeah, I mean, given with how this map has been going, I could honestly see our team Argentina going for a HG3 ban. I really caught making this call because it's sort of a techie pick. There are a lot of gear elements into it, and as much as I love Crafter and Ice, at the end of the day, it really doesn't seem like a map Argentina would go for. If not for, the Fremont 2 ban. I think a Fremont 2 ban makes a lot of sense here as well, if I'm not mistaken. Argentina really doesn't have a solid gimmick roster or a solid low AR hidden roster, so trying to cut out that Fremont 2 opportunity definitely makes equally as much sense. Meanwhile, on the side of Team Vietnam, I mean, Hard Rock 1 is always open, but as you mentioned, Foxy, right, the DT2, DT3, if they want to eliminate the RNG, that DT3 makes a lot of sense. If they want to, if they're afraid of what happened on Normal 5, which I don't think they are given how close it is, the DT2 also kind of makes sense. But right now, it is just going to be up to Argentina, and we will be seeing what they're going to go for. We should be able to see it very, very soon. But yeah, it's either Fremont 2 or HD3 for me, Foxy.
Yeah, understandable. I think either of those two maps honestly works. It's just up to Argentina. If I'm being honest, Hidden Stream might be a better ban just because Fremont 2, they can go Hard Rock and just try to outscore them.
True.
But either way, it's kind of up in the air for those two. They instead ban Fremont 1 of all
Oh,
things,
okay,
which
what?
I was not
Okay.
expecting. That is the
Okay.
last thing I was expecting, but it is a hidden map, I guess, for a player, so a little understandable. And Vietnam probably banning DT2. They've banned DT2
Vietnam
in
goes
every match.
Fremont 2
So
ban here, actually. Vietnam goes Fremont 2.
surely.
Like they just all hate Fremont. Like balls to the walls. Honestly, we've been having a bunch of ups and downs, a bunch of surprise picks coming in from both these teams this entire match. So at this point, I mean, I'm calling a Vietnam Hard Rock ban or a Vietnam DT ban, but at the end of the day, they might not even go for one of those. But we are gonna see a Hard Rock 2 ban, yep. And as we predicted, I think Foxy, you and I called a Hard Rock 2 pick from Argentina. If not for them going for their protect pick in the very beginning, we predicted a Hard Rock 2 pick, and they didn't go for it. So Vietnam looking to cut out that option as soon as possible. But with that, we are back into the pick phase, and I believe it is going back to Argentina.
Yeah, this is gonna be an Argentina pick. Hard Rock 2 ban does make sense here a lot from Vietnam. This is something that Argentina should have picked instantly. It's a combination of Hard Rock, which while Vietnam does not struggle on the simpler maps, this is very control heavy, and that's something that Vietnam struggles on a lot. So should have been the first pick, but here we are with Vietnam still having their hidden too, still having their protect, as we now go into the Argentinian pick here, which honestly, I think this is DT2. I don't think there's many other options. They could go for No Mod 1 if they want to keep going with the tech picks. No Mod 1 is very light techy, but I highly doubt it because of how aim heavy it is as well.
Yeah, I mean, DC3 is also an option, right? If they want to go for a more RNG pick. But I think it kind of also depends on what kind of mental...
Sorry, what?
What the hell?
I'm sorry for interrupting, but what? Why
Okay, yeah, see, okay, so we saw Hard Rock 3 protect pick, first pick from Argentina, and then we see Hidden 2 protecting your opponent's protect. I mean, picking your opponent's protect right out of the second ban phase. Um, um,
Look, I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
pretend that this is not the biggest power move I think I've seen. I've seen teams win their opponent's protect. I've been part of a similar situation, but doing it here when you're 2-2 and even just a single break
um,
win can swing the way of the
um,
match. It's insane. Even Vietnam's confused at this pick.
I'm getting flashbacks. Oh, Foxy, I'm getting flashbacks from 6WC 2024 where I picked Hidden 2 against Abure and devious things happen. Maybe it's a calling. Maybe it's a calling. Maybe Team Argentina actually has goated memorization players and they're all really locked in. But this isn't even like a memorization map. It's a pure Hidden 2, low AR hidden consistency and comfort test because it's text. It's text. It's reading text.
Picking,
Oh
I mean,
man,
granted, it's a tech map, so I guess
that's
like
true.
Argentina's been going for, they will pick No Mod 1 eventually. They've been going for these tech maps, but taking Hidden 2 when you know your opponent's gonna pick it later because it's their protect is insanely risky. I do not agree with this pick. I know Argentina can probably do well on this. I mean, obviously they have Unknown who has a lot of experience in Valvet, but even then, this is such a risky move. I'm not sure if this is something that Argentina should have gone with, but at the end of the day, we will have to start off with the Hidden 2, the low AR comfort test tech map as we get straight into it. Vietnam's Protect picked by Argentina.
Well, we'll see if the aura move plays off here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. Brazilian Hidden 2. And instantly, okay, Team Vietnam finding 3 early misses to kickstart the map. Pause that. Why is Argentina actually cooking?
I mean, okay, I was not expecting Vietnam
Whoa!
to start falling
Whoa!
this early. Argentina's genuinely taking a sizable lead. Salt is not there. I think what I'm currently looking at is just Vietnam being caught so off guard that they were not ready to play this,
Oh!
and Argentina double FC against just CCNS with a little bit of recovery,
Oh!
and it's just going to Argentina for 200k.
Oh! 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 Vietnam be getting caught lacking. Holy! I mean, we're already like a, a two-thirds through the map, and if you told me this is Vietnam's pick, and if you told me that this is Vietnam's protect, I would not believe you. In fact, I would say this is Argentina's protect because they are moving into the second half of the map. 2 FCs on the board, one being 97%, and one of those FCs isn't even forward. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, Yasuki is a very experienced player. He was on last year's team as well, and they perform well on these kinds of maps, but watching them pick it here, I mean, it's barely working out. 330k advantage for Argentina, getting into the last fourth of the map, and this is looking like a done and sealed deal for Argentina, as they will be taking their opponent's protect.
I'm retiring from commentary. I'm just retiring from commentary. I mean, I was not familiar with your game, Argentina. Dante Scar finally finds the miss, but so does Zinx, and Jasky is looking to run the extra mile forward with the supporting combo. TNBU absolutely pales in comparison to what Argentina is putting in on the board. And as my flashbacks prove to be true, Team Argentina against all odds. You can't even call this like a breakpoint or whatnot because it is still that pick, but the aura to go for your opponent's protect and pull off with whatever the hell Jasky is doing with that 900k. I was not familiar with your game and I'm eating my words hard right now. I'm devouring my words.
Yeah, no,
Holy.
kind of same here. Winning your opponent's protect by 500k when it's a map like this, it's not even like they protected a simple map. This is a very specialized map. There's very few people that can comfortably play this like on a daily basis, and we do see Gabriel or Argentina did get fourth playered, but it was just enough for them to beat Vietnam on their own protect, and the mental boom that Vietnam's getting from this is insane, as I honestly have no idea what Vietnam can pick with that performance on Hidden 2.
Um so like the Duke of all time. Like Vietnam just got their ankles broken and they need to walk out of that with a response. What would they go for? Honestly, Foxy, like, is it? They're not fooling anyone, right? That they're gonna go for DT2. Like we're gonna see that they're gonna go for the mod Hidden 3, and so it's gonna be great, and then they're gonna go for DT2, and then we're gonna eat our words, and then it's gonna be epic, and it's gonna be like a super close DT2 match. Like that's just gonna happen.
I was not expecting Vietnam to be the mechanics team and Argentina to be the gimmick team in this
Right?
matchup. This is, I think, the most surprised I've been watching a match, but I mean, if we're going by that logic at this point, I feel like they
Ooh.
pick GT2, they do pick Milma 3, which makes sense as well. That is something that Vietnam usually wants to pick. And it is one of those, like, not control, this is very flowy, more than super control heavy, but either
I
way,
mean,
at this point, I have no idea which way this can go.
honestly, Foxy, this map is a very unique take on No Mod 3 or a lot more free flow, free form aim when it comes to the mapping style. By this is a custom map by Creep Attack. It while you mentioned it does have quite a bit of flow. It also has quite a bit of snap aim. I think Philopson put it very well. It is a role reversal of the No Mod 3 that we saw in last week's No Mod 3, if I'm not mistaken, where I believe this map features more snap aim in its it features more snap aim in its off KIs and more flow aim in its KIs. So this is one of my favorite maps in the pool. I did the replay for this and I love Fukin to Asa. But going back to the match that we have on the ground, this is uncharted territory in terms of just this matchup, Vietnam versus Argentina. So we don't quite know. It's a real gray area once again. No Mod 3 alt is a gray area against these two rosters at the end of the day. And I think whoever wins this pit opens up a lot more options. But given how Argentina went for the free mod 1 ban, it does make sense why Vietnam will go for this. Your opponent not too confident on the alt, so you go in for the alt map in the pool, the no mod 3 of the pool. Makes a lot of sense. We are seeing the players slowly funnel into the lobby, and hopefully we should be off to the races very soon.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pick that Vietnam is favored on to some degree. They do love their ult, and I know Argentina is not the biggest fan of ult as from what I remember. I don't even believe that they played it too much in this tournament. But looking at their qualifier scores, they got a 1.5 mil, not the greatest, and with this being a very similar SR, very different map to be fair, but very similar SR. But yeah, it's not something that I see Argentina winning. So I believe Vietnam on the front foot once again. They can take this point. But then again, we saw the hit into and how Argentina performed insanely well on it. So at this point, anything can happen, but Vietnam should in theory be favored on this, as I believe we will slowly be getting into the map very soon.
Yeah. I would also like to mention, I think it'll be more pronounced after this matchup, but we are slowly moving into the mid game, and this is where mental becomes very important. And for what it's worth, Argentina, in fact, has a lot of momentum. They won a breakpoint, albeit they stole a breakpoint back from Team Vietnam, and then they won a protect from Team Vietnam. So in terms of a momentum, a mental standpoint, Argentina definitely has the forward foot. Meanwhile, Team Vietnam, you just came out losing your protect, and I believe for some reason we're not seeing Festive Axolotl in the lobby at all during this match. So perhaps, that might start to prove to be a bit of a challenge or a mental hurdle for them to overcome going into these later maps as things become a lot more closer and maps become a lot more dangerous, a lot more unpredictable. But with that, we're finally into the lobby. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sarah Fukin to Asa by Creep Attack.
Yeah, getting into this map, not seeing Axolotl at all, I believe is making the difference currently, but Vietnam still holding their own very strongly as we get into this. We see a very early break on Rena, but not gonna matter too much. Even though this map is not the longest, these early breaks are just here to for the players to kind of get comfortable, start off with the map. So slowly getting into it. Vietnam with a massive accuracy advantage actually as Dante finds himself a break. Argentina, as always, struggling a little with accuracy, but combo-wise, they were doing fine. But now everything on the side of Vietnam as we're slowly getting through this intro section into the first game where Rena finds a break.
Yep, this is where the snap aim, just where the flow aim becomes a lot more pronounced. But we also see the introduction of a lot of these weird, 4-note bursts into snap. And Yuhime gonna be the next one to find the miss. Dante Scar now building up the supporting combo, canceling Rena 1 out. And now we see a 3-way FC in favor of Team Argentina. However, due to the accuracy difference, in particular, Assault right now, really giving Argentina a run for their money. Tianfu, however, finding a miss, that's not what you want to see. Dante Scar does stop the bleeding, but a bunch of misses coming in from Team Vietnam. Rena and Yuhime as well, not able to find their footing, and Sol is the only one left in the lobby as Argentina are now running away with the score lead.
Yeah, Fallout Moye are and Tisva are all just holding so comfortably currently. Even though Dante Scar is a little behind, it's not gonna matter too much. Even just the 3 FCs could honestly currently just pull this ahead. As now it's just Saltian who finds a break traded by Foul, but
Oh,
and now it's just one FC on both sides with virtually equal support.
oh,
Salt finds himself the break, and now it's just Moye R on the side of Argentina with the FC with a lot of support from Dante Scar as well. And now it's just gonna go to Argentina in such a dominant fashion once again.
yeah, that's right. 800 combo in favor of Moye right now, and he hits all of it till the very end. Last quarter of the map, but 400k score difference in favor of Team Argentina right now. And this was a mispick from Team Vietnam, as clear as day. It's clear to see that the gray area was not something that they could have gone for. And man, as much as I hate to say it, perhaps the GT2 or the GT3 was the strat here. In fact, when are we gonna see a free mod 2 coming in from Team Vietnam?
I mean, at this point, anything can happen. We see a lot of breaks coming in all around. But that's gonna be No Mods 3, as Argentina takes another insanely dominant point off of Vietnam. And Argentina is starting to pick up that momentum. Every point that Argentina's won besides the No Mod 5 has been in insanely dominant fashion, as it's now their pick. Once again, they have a lot of option. The world is their oyster, as I believe they're at this point, honestly, they might pick Hidden 3. I don't know if I'm being real. They could pick DT2. Hell, even Fremont 2. So Argentina just kinda can do anything they want, honestly, at this point. They have the mental advantage, the point advantage. It's just a question of comfortability.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, it is still, first to six, so Argentina isn't quite a threatening match point just yet. Vietnam still has some leeway, they still have some room for error, although albeit it's very, very precarious at the end of the day. Argentina, I think, has a few picks here. I'm looking at the Hard Rock 1, I'm looking at both DTs, and I think those are what they'll probably go for. I think it'll be one of these three picks. I could see them maybe going for a No More 1, but at the end of the day, I think the Hiddens and the Fremont 2 are off limits. I want to see Vietnam go into them next round because, man, they have to pull it out somehow. They have to pull it out somehow. Going into the gray area was not the play that Vietnam needed to make. And right now, I don't think Argentina really wants to play in any of the aim slots. I mean, they could go for the Haro one. I think the Haro one's a good pick here. But other than that, I don't think Hidden is a very good shot for them. At the end of the day, I mean, I think Argentina's really trying to play their cards right. They're really thinking about it, and we are gonna see the Harvard one coming in from Team Argentina.
Hard Rock 1 is kind of risky, to be fair. I don't like this pick too much particularly, because while Vietnam does struggle on the Hard Rock and Hard Rock 3 in this round, they are still a very good Hard Rock team on these more basic maps, and this map is basically just aim at 200 BPM, so players like Chino, Yuhime, and obviously Axolotl, if they were here, would absolutely destroy in this one. And even without Axolotl, they have a very strong Hard Rock core. So getting into this is a risky pick on its own, because of how simple the map is, how much the players are comfortable on this. So we'll just have to wait and see how this one goes. But Vietnam has a chance to take the breakpoint back. They just need to play their cards right here.
Yeah, but at the same time, I wanna underline some things coming from Team Argentina. You look at, the other two picks, GT2 and GT3, and, No Mod 5 was a very close pick. No Mod 2 was a very close pick. Perhaps Team Argentina wants to play their cards, they want to go into the first ever raw mechanics aim test in this pool, just because, it's a gray area. The last time they went into this sort of very contested, very unknown territory, uncharted territory during this match was the No Mod 3. They won that in a very dominant fashion. So going into this Harvard 1, perhaps, they're willing to take the gamble again with confidence. And not just that, Harvard 1 is a map that requires a lot of focus, a lot of confidence, especially given how it's probably the longest map in the pool, coming in at almost 4 minutes long. So for what it's worth, Team Argentina is looking to play the mental game against Team Vietnam right now. They know Vietnam is probably feeling some nerves. They're probably feeling a bit scared. So they want to put the pressure as much as possible. And what map to do it on than, the war of attrition map in this pool.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, yeah, this is the consistency map of the pool, and I do believe Argentina wins out on a consistency map. But again, Hard Rock is a risky thing for both teams besides the Hard Rocks too. I mean, Hard Rock overall, just the free mod 1 and 2 as well, were a little risky because of Vietnam being decent on Hard Rock. So we'll have to wait and see how this one goes. Currently, we're just waiting for the players to get into the lobby. Looks like we will be starting very soon with Velvet and Unknown on the side of Argentina, along with this one, Dante Scar. Players that we've been seeing throughout this entire match performing insanely well. And on the other side, on Vietnam, you have the same core we've seen for most maps with Salt, Rena 1, Hugh, Hime, and Tianwu as we slowly start off with the Hard Rock one, the first real consistency pick of this entire match.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ferisodation, pardon me. It's gonna be Hard Rock 1, 200 BPM, your standard bread and butter Hard Rock 1, testing a good mix of speedy aim, as well as a bit of burst, a bit of tapping sprinkled in here and there. At the end of the day, the main skill set that this map will be testing is your consistency on Hard Rock and your comfort on Hard Rock. But without further ado, let's jump straight into it.
We see Salt finding an early break actually, very early on in the map. Not gonna matter too much. This is one of, if not the longest map in the pool. I'm not sure if there's something longer from memory. So looking at it, currently Argentina very much in the lead as Yuhime finds themselves a break as well, giving Argentina a lot of breathing room with that quad FC, or well, triple FC with a very early reverse choke on Dante as Tianwu, Rena 1 holding their combos as well. Managing to fight off Argentina for just this little bit longer, but Rena
Oh
1
man.
finds a break, giving Argentina that quad FC against just Tianwu currently.
Oh my goodness, and I think here's where we really are starting to see the mental diff coming in from Team Vietnam. Not able to secure their footing on this map whatsoever. Meanwhile, Argentina is now locked in with a four-way FC moving into the KI, moving into that second quarter of the map. They are really pushing that score lead more and more, and as we get into this KI, I mean, we gotta hope for some misses if you're an unbiased viewer from Team Argentina. They need to happen soon. 150k and counting. Meanwhile, Yuhime as well, finding another miss. So does Rena 1. Salt and Tianvu are trying their best, but until we see someone from Argentina fall, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, right now Argentina with that quad FC is just not gonna let Vietnam take even just that tiniest bit of ground. Tianwu and Dante Scar find breaks, which is an FC for an FC, not what you wanna see, but it's better than nothing as Assault currently holding an FC, one of the highest accuracy in the lobby, I believe second highest accuracy in the lobby, which is good for Vietnam here. They do need Salt to just hold combo, but with a Falvet Unknown and Disva all holding those FCs with good accuracy as well, especially Falvet on that 99% almost, it's currently not looking too great. Rena 1 and Yuhime built up a little bit of a support for Salt here, but they just need that one or two more breaks from the side of Argentina. But as we get in through the second third of the map, currently it's just very much looking like an Argentinian masterclass as Rena 1 finds another break and Argentina taking the points so far by 500k with one third of the map left.
Yeah, no, we're moving into this last quarter, this last third, and forward. This one, Unknown are just so incredibly consistent. They're impenetrable in this matchup. So, as hard as he may try, is just unable to pull a key to the dominance that they're displaying for us right now. Last quarter of the map, 600k score difference and counting, almost 700k. And I mean, this bar might find that miss, but I mean, the damage has long been done. A huge blow to the Vietnamese scoreline. With that, I think Argentina now gonna do it. They're gonna go to match point.
Going to match point with what we're currently seeing to turn out to be a 1 million score difference, never mind Unknown finds a break. It's just insanity. This point, despite how doubtful I was, is an insanely good pick from the looks of it. 800k to the side of Argentina and growing, as it's just Salt and Velvet with combos. But Salt finds a break, Velvet finds a break, and there's zero combo on the board besides Yuhime and Dante Scar, who have secretly built up their combos, but it's not gonna matter. 800k for Argentina. This point is Argentina's no matter what happens, especially as Yuhime finds a break. And Argentina is going to be calling up. Is it a 900k score difference? No. Okay,
Oh
thank God.
man. So now Vietnam are in between a rock and a hard place. Argentina has put that match point threat into the game. With that, Team Vietnam will be on the constant back foot. Every point moving forward is a fight for survival for this Vietnamese roster. And oh my goodness, please can we see a hidden three? Oh please, please. I'm on my knees.
Uh,
Oh man.
as happy as I would be to see a hidden tree, as much as I love the map personally as well, I
No more
highly doubt
two.
you're gonna pick something that your opponent won by 400k and 500k respectively on Hidden 2 and No Mods 3. That kind of option is so risky that I highly doubt that Vietnam really wants to pick it, and
That's
I
true.
can instead just see Hidden 1. I think just going into a simple hidden map is far better than Hidden 3.
Maybe we see the return of Vietnam going in for the DTs at this point. I mean, we've been talking, glazing Argentina on and on about how strong they are on speed, but what has worked for Team Vietnam in the past was the mechanics. You know, you're looking at the No Mod 2s, you're looking at your. Oh my goodness, I might losing it. You're looking at your No Mod 4s, the tapping, the max speedy was what seemed to be Vietnam's strength in this matchup. And honestly, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Go for the GTs. If you're really scared of playing into, the uncharted territory that is Hidden 3, honestly, not even uncharted at this point, go for the DTs. You can RNG game with the GT3 or you can try to out mech with that GT2. At the end of the day, I'm not too sure what they'll go for here. At the end of the day, it's going to be up to whether Team Vietnam can regain their mental, really log back into the match and find their footing some way, somehow, because they need to do so.
Yeah, I mean, Vietnam just needs to get a footing. They just need to get a point on
Yes!
the board. And they do end up taking Hidden 3, a map that I think is a little risky, but I mean, at this point, everything is risky. Just go into your best, and we will have to see how Hidden 3 goes. This is gonna be a very fun map to watch. We've seen this earlier. This is one of the hardest maps in the pool, if not the
Tiebreaker.
hardest. So we'll have to wait and see how this one goes.
Yep, this is our tiebreaker one slot. This map features a whole host of skill sets. There is a one-third section, a morphing control section, and a slide attack section. This map really has it all. And it's a very, very good test of your hidden 3 consistency and your hidden consistency, full stop, and how adaptable you are on the skill set. Going into this matchup, I mean, the only other hidden map that we've seen this match was the hidden 2, and I would say that that is very different from what we saw in the hidden 3, if not for the fact that hidden 2 was literally tech. But if we're talking about tech at the same time, Vietnam did walk away with that no mod 4 victory. So at the same time, when you slap on hidden with it, which is what Vietnam should be expected to be the stronger team on, this hidden 3 on paper seems like a very good pick. But when you account for the mental and whatnot, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. It's really a fight for survival, probably.
Yeah, it's just surviving. I think Vietnam can bring this back. They have a shot, as we saw with Nomad 5 being very close. They picked Nomad 2 and 1, so they have options here. Argentina probably gonna go for the remaining two DTs when it gets to their picks. So we'll have to wait. We'll just have to wait and see what they end up going for. It's most likely gonna be DT2, but for now we have the Hidden 3 on the board, a map that Vietnam really likes overall. They like their Hidden, they like their ult, and while they've not been playing the best on those two skill sets in Hidden 2 and No Mod 3, this map is not a combination of tech, and it does still have that hidden element, unlike the No Mod 3, so it's something that Vietnam can genuinely win, and it's a pretty good pick for them. It's not bad at all, as much as I would personally prefer to see Hidden 1 just to abuse aim, which Argentina has been somewhat struggling on throughout the match outside of Hard Rock 1.
Yeah, hopefully we should be able to see the map very soon, I think. But yeah, Crafter and Ice was a map that I am heavily looking forward to seeing. I think DBS Panda map set, Nightcore map. So you already know it's going to be gas. Once again, a very unique take on the Hidden 3 slot, a true test of consistency. You saw the consistency in the Hard Rock 1 before, and you're seeing it again, although albeit with on the complete contrasting end of the aim skill sets, where Hard Rock 1 was mechanics aim. This hidden 3 is all about that control. It's all about that cursor control with quite a bit of finger control sprinkled in. With that, I mean, Team Vietnam at this juncture must be feeling the pressure. I cannot imagine what it's like in their perspective right now. And at the end of the day, I mean, you're seeing players like Rena One coming into the lobby, and this is their element. They are known for that finger control. They're known for hidden control in general. You're seeing Zinx as well for the tech pick. Makes a lot of sense. And Salt alongside Tien being the carries of Team Vietnam that we've seen time and time again on this roster. Meanwhile, Argentina bring in their carrier forward, of course, Jasky as well from that hidden two, coming back for the hidden three. Dante Scar and Gandalf as well here and there. Very solid performances. But the good luck have fun coming in chat. Let's see how long Vietnam can survive.
Yeah, let's get straight into it as we start off Hidden 3. Possibly the last map of this match and the tournament with Vietnam's lowest placement in 6WC history on the line as well. As we get slowly into this, Banjo is going to allow us to begin getting into the TBS Panda map. This map has a lot of different skill sets in it. It's very oldie, it has some rhythms in it. And if you've played TBS Panda maps, you know how demonic they can be on Hidden, especially with this being arguably the hardest map in the pool, with Hard Rock 2 being the only real map that's in contention for that spot as well. As we get right on with it here, with Vietnam having a slight accuracy lead going through these slow sliders, but it's not gonna matter since we've not gotten into the real meat of the map that we're gonna get into very soon.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Crafted in Ice. Don't let the 4-minute timer fool you. Half of that is all sliders, but once the spinner ends, it is full thrust into the first KI. And here we go. The finger control coming to greet these players early on. Quite a bit of reading as well in this section. And as it stands right now, everybody holding on to their combos. Not gonna be until, we get to the more, tricky, a bit more finicky patterns and we're gonna see the first few misses come in. Right now, Vietnam holding a slight accuracy lead. That's gonna shift at any juncture. Gandalf gonna be the first one to find the miss on the back and forth pattern. And moving into this next KI, I mean, it seems as though this is a phenomenal pick for Team Vietnam. Team Argentina seems to be suffering from a bit of a four-person diff. With that, Vietnam's gonna push that early lead.
Yeah, Gandalf finds another break. Argentina just not able to keep up with that fourth player who's far behind, but we see a break on Joski as well, traded by Rena. And now it's just 2 FCs to 2, I guess, with Salt finding a break themselves, but Gandalf so far behind, allowing Vietnam to keep going. But Tien Wu Dante finding breaks themselves, and now just ZCNS and Falvet holding with insane accuracies. And it's just those two now, with Vietnam still in the lead, still increasing it.
Yeah, we move into the wanted swing section and Zinx versus Forward. Going up against Forward in a 1v1 is not something you want to do, but Forward goes down and Zinx, once the dust settles once again, who is the contestant, the tech master that is Zinx? Holy crap, we saw it in Synthesis No More 4, and we're seeing it in Crafted in Ice. Hidden 3, Zinx is the absolute behemoth on this tech map, and while misses might be surrounding him in the lobby, nobody is able to hold a key to the 97% FC that Zinx is putting on right now. What a performance, dude.
Yeah, watching an FC on this map, his accuracy is quickly dropping, but I mean, even then, just FCing this map so far is an insanely good performance, and going from Argentina taking a very dominant point, it seems that Zinx alone is gonna take a dominant point for himself as he's leading the charge here. As we're in another slow section, the players here get to rest up, get to check the scores, and they see Zinx, the only anchor holding down Team Vietnam. They have Tianwu and Rena on backup combos as well in case Zinx breaks, so it's not like he's a one-man army, he has that support. But we'll just have to wait and see how this one goes as Zinx still on that FC. Lower accuracy, Tianwu with 98% in 500 combo, also an insanely good score. But so far, Vietnam just dominantly taking this one home.
That's right. As the final spinner comes in, we move into the slider section. This is where, the nerves can really start to come haunt you if you're nervous. But, I mean, there is nothing that Team Vietnam can do to lose this point at this juncture. Argentina is just so far on the back foot just by nature of things. I mean, this map might be called Crafted in Ice, but he is forged in fire as he blazes towards this final KI, last eighth of the map. 1.2k combo and counting. And the question is not whether can he, but is a question of how far he will take it. 1.3k combo and counting as we move into the final 1/3 section of this map. Ladies and gentlemen, where was this pick from Team Vietnam? Oh my goodness. Oh
That
my goodness.
triple break is quite unfortunate, but Tianwu is still there, and Vietnam takes the hidden streak by 459k, an insane performance that gets them back in the game, actually. With now just one pick from Argentina remaining and one from Vietnam as well. They just need to survive one more of Argentina's picks, and they will be able to start actually having hopes for a tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's right. Each step counts. And, for what it's worth, Team Vietnam have the dominant lead. They have the momentum back. They have put a halt to the Argentinian momentum. And this is hopefully a beginning of their comeback. But it's a lot easier said than done. It's a very steep slope to climb for Team Vietnam. And their picks are running out, frankly speaking. Argentina still has one more pick, and Vietnam also need to survive this one pick. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know what Argentina is gonna go for. If I had to guess, maybe we see a GT3. Maybe they just go Wallahi for it and they just throw it out. Honestly, that is a possibility. Alternatively, I could also see a Nomad one. They won on the Hard Rock one. Looking to play that consistency game once again on this Nomad one also makes a lot of sense. But then again, would you really want to pick Tech into Ziggs, which just came out of both Nomad 4 and Hidden 3, absolutely carrying his team? I wouldn't think so. So at the end of the day, we're getting into the end game where there are only 5 picks left on the board and things are getting dicey. 3 more 2, however, is going to be the pick that comes in from Team Argentina. It's going to be Switcheroo.
I have no words. I've expected this from Vietnam for the past give or take hour that this match has been ongoing, and it seems that Argentina is the one that's picking gimmick instead of Vietnam. As I mean, this frame 2, it's not super gimmicky. It's just your standard anti-mod aim. And if you've played Nick maps, then you've played this one as well, because this is a very simple and well-known map from Nick. So it's very fun as well. So we'll have to wait and see what they go. I know Argentina's probably going double hard rock with one hidden. But who's going to be that hidden player, I actually am not too sure about, just looking at their team. I mean, you have a few players that are in contention. You have someone such as Falbert who could go hidden. You have someone such as... Honestly, it's just Falbert. And maybe Gabriel if you want to just take him and just hope that he can perform. But either way, it's going to be a risky one, as we'll have to wait and see what they go. With Vietnam probably going at the double hidden and one hard rock on this.
Yeah, that's right. We've been hyping up this pick since the very beginning, I think, Foxy. We've been talking about how Argentina really struggles to find that hidden player going to this matchup, but we walked out of that hidden too with Jasky basically FCing it. So I think that problem has sort of been solved for Team Argentina, and for what it's worth, it's really gonna be down to whether Team Vietnam can really contest it. Salt was really struggling on the hidden too. So hopefully, with perhaps the buffer of no mod, perhaps they'll be able to make the difference in this free mod too. Meanwhile, I definitely think we're gonna see Rena 1 and Zinx on the hiddens, and Tien probably gonna go for the hard rock. Meanwhile, Jasky definitely going to be the hidden player on Team Argentina, and I guess the other question is whether we'll see double hidden or double hard rock Team Argentina. If I had to guess, I would still probably say, it's really tough to say, really. I would be saying double hidden because that's just like the natural thing to do, but Argentina's been showing so much dominance on hard rock that I can't help but think they might go for it instead. Maybe a hidden hard rock from forward. We've seen it before.
True. We've seen hidden hard rock a couple times throughout the tournament. It's not a popular option by any means, but it does happen sometimes. And honestly, in this match in particular, seeing it from someone like Falvet is not out of question. Even maybe Rena, I'm not too sure. But they go hidden with Tianwu actually, ZCNS going Nomad as Salt goes hard rock, and on the other side we have Unknown going hard rock, Jasky going hidden, and they actually overmod with Dante going hard rock and Fava going hidden hard rock.
Okay, alright, so now we just ego in. Holy crap. We'll have to see how it pays off, but ladies and gentlemen, from the Catch World Cup. Oh wait, no, this Taiko World Cup. From Taiko World Cup, let's see how Switchery goes. Already some misses coming in all across the board. Rena 1 Salt, as well as Jasky. 2 FCs to 3 as it stands right now.
Yeah, right now Argentina just in the lead despite the insane overmod and their hidden player being the only one that's missed on an aim anti-mod so far. It is in their favor. Velvet does find a break on the flow pattern within a hard truck, makes complete sense, but the rest of the team is holding. They are at the mercy of Vietnam though. They have some decent combos on that side, especially Tianfu and CCNS, who are both, I believe I've seen with Tianfu just having a little bit of a
Oh,
rush hook, but CCNS and Rena finding breaks. And now Argentina back on the front foot with the double hard rock FC from Dante's car, an unknown with a very little support actually. They don't really have that much support besides Velvet's accuracy.
yeah, but then again, Team Vietnam cannot get the recovery combos on the board. So finding another miss, unfortunately, Tien, the only one left on Vietnam with any form of combo whatsoever. And with that, we're moving into the last half of the map. Tien finding that miss as well. And Anno and Dante Scar now have free reign and free control over that scoreboard. And it's just going to skyrocket towards the left side as we move into the last third of the map.
This is just an ego move if I'm being real. Winning by this much with an overmod as much as this is not even just one mod. This is a double overmod because Velvet could have gone no mod if they wanted. They instead go hidden hard rock. And Argentina, I don't think there's a world in which Vietnam wins this point. They just do not have the combo. They have a little bit, but against the FC that is unknown and against the damage that has been done by Dante's current Velvet, it's just not going to be enough as the map slowly comes to a close. Argentina winning 6-3. The map's not over, but I really don't think there's that much to do as unknown with that FC. He's just holding on and refusing to give even just a tiny bit of breathing space to Vietnam as Argentina takes the overmod free mod 2 point and wins 6-3 in this matchup.
A 6 seed upset of Team Argentina. I mean, this country just continues to shock me time and time again. Last year, beating out Canada and Singapore, seed 4 and 5, seed 3 and 4 respectively. And this year, I mean, Team Argentina with the upset in the losers bracket will be knocking Vietnam down out of the tournament. In fact, this is a losers bracket match, so it's wraps for Team Vietnam. Unfortunate, I think. I think Team Vietnam is always a favorite amongst the crowd, so it's sad to see them go so early. But with that, Team Argentina, a very, very solid win. I think they can move into the next match with quite a bit of confidence to boot.
Yeah, Argentina gonna be facing what I believe to be either... Hold on, let me check the match schedules real quick just to be 100% sure on this. But I believe, just looking at the match schedule, they'll be playing against Brazil or Norway. Both very fun matches, if you ask me. So that's gonna be an interesting sight to see. But for now, that has been all from us. Congratulations to Argentina for winning this match. And Vietnam, unfortunately, going to be taking their lowest placements in 6WC history, leaving 6WC5.
Yeah, I really think that it was a byproduct of having lost two of their carry players in Chino from the Hard Rock and their overall carry player in Festive Axolotl that really harmed them this time round. But I believe with that, I think they are gonna go play tiebreaker for fun if I'm not wrong. But yeah, unfortunately, we will have to say goodbye to Chino, unfortunately. But I think we are gonna stay back a bit. I am going to ask around. I'm gonna pick up Zix, I hope, and hopefully we should be able to hear some thoughts from him coming out of the match that just occurred.
Yeah, so... Are we done?